All right, Jake, so we learned last time on these past ones, we talked about the least common multiple. Now we're going to go into the least common denominator. So let's read together on this. It says, it's a rule. You got to remember the rules. This one's a rule. To find the least common denominator. This one's called the LCD. The other one was called the LCM. This is LCD as in dog, as in day, as in doo-doo. So it says least common denominator of two or more fractions. Find the least common multiple of the denominators. So here's a couple of examples. I will show you as well, but let's go through these. 1/2, 1/4, 1/6. The number 12 is the least common multiple of the denominator. The denominator is the bottom and is the least common denominator. So let's look at that. So it says 1/2, 1/4, and 1/6. So let's make this line go long. Let's make this line go long. Let's make this line go long. If you remember, we multiply by 2's. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. This one, 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. And the last one, 6, 12, 18, 24. So we're looking for the least common denominator. The denominator is always the bottom number. Whatever the bottom number, that's the denominator. So which one's the least common denominator? Least meaning the lowest. Common means same. Denominator is the bottom number. So out of all of these, when is the, as we talked before, the least common multiple? So which one's the least common multiple? When do you see that numbers start to match? Oh, there it is. 12, 12, and 12. So these three right here, 12, 12, 12, is the least common multiple. And it's also the least common denominator. So it's the lowest. Let's say that 8 was here and 8 was here and 8 was here. That's less than 12, so then you'd be circling 8. But there's no 8 here. So here's where the 3 are the lowest of all. So we're going back to your book and it says the number 12 is the least from those 3. Let's look at the next one. Example number 2. So it says 2/3, 4/5, and 7/15. So let's see again. The easiest thing to do is to do a big line, and a big line. You're gonna multiply by 3's. So 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. This one by 5's. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. This one by 15. So 15, 30. Oops, that's not 30, that's 13. Hey. 30, 45, 60. So where is the least common multiple or same denominator, the lowest number? Do you see 3's here? No. Do you see 6's? No. Do you see 9's? No. 12's? No. Ooh, you see 15's? 15, 15, 15. That is your least common denominator. I'm going to start calling it LCD. So it keeps on saying, and as you can see, the answer was 15. After finding the least common denominator, that's step 1. Step 2 Change each fraction to the equivalent fraction having the least common denominator. So, check this out. 1/2 became 6/12. So the 1/2 is right here. 1/4 became 3/12. And the 1/6 became 2/12. So what's the difference between these three numbers and these three numbers? You got it. It is the denominator. See how they all became 12? It went from 1/2 to 6/12, 1/4 to 3/12, and 1/6 to 2/12. How does this happen? So you multiplied here how many times? So 2 times 1 is 2, 2 times 2 is 4, 2 times 3 is 6, 2 times 4 is 8, 2 times 5 is 10, and 2 times 6. So you had to multiply 6 times 2 to get your denominator to be 12. Remember this 6. Then here, 4 times 1 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8, 4 times 3 is 12. You had to multiply the 4 times 3 to get 12. 6 times 1 is 1, 6 times 2 is 12. You had to multiply your 6 times 2 to get 12. So the numbers that it took you to get to 12, you're going to use this number and multiply your number 1, or your numerator, which is the top part. So 6 times 1 is 6. Your denominator is 12. And that's your final answer. 6/12. And check it out. 6/12. So this one is 3. So you would do what? 3 times 1 is 3. Because it took you 3 times to get to 12. 4 times 3 is 12. And then your denominator is 12. Final answer. We're going to put an F. The last one, it took you twice, or 6 times 2, 2 times to get to 12. So 2 times 1 is 2, and 12. See how they all became 12? So the number, or the amount of times that you have to get get your denominator is the number of times you're going to multiply this here. Again, 6 times 1, 6. 3 times 1, 3. 2 times 1, 2. The answers here are 6, 3, 2. We're going to look at the next one. These are all examples. I'm hoping you understand this. It can get a little confusing. So we're going to do it here. How many times did it take us to get to 15? 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 4 is 12. 3 times 5 is 15. So it took us 5 times. But you no longer have a 1. Now it's a 2. So what are you going to do? 5 times 2. And you know that answer to that and is 10. And then your common denominator is 15. You already got that. Here it took us 5 times 1 is 1. 5 times 2 is 10. 5 times 3 is 15. But that's not a 1. It's a 4. So you're going to do 4 times 3, and the answer is 12, and this stays the same. You found your 15. And the last one, 15 times 1 is 15, so it was right there. So 7 times 1 is 7 over 15. Final answer, final answer, final answer. Final answer. Yay. All right, so now it's time to practice, Jake. So class practice. It says complete this chart, find the multiples of the denominator. So now you have LCM, if you remember, is least common multiple, and then LCD, least common denominator. Sometimes they might not be the same. So on this one, it gives you the fraction 1/5, 1/5, 1/10. So you multiply by 5s, 5, 10, 15, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, and so on. Here's by 10s, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, and so on. Where do you see that they're the common multiples? The common multiples are 10, 20, 30, it would be 40, 50, because it's by 10s, which is the bigger number. The least common, the least common multiple, so the lowest one of all the common ones is number 10, or 10. 10, 10. The least common denominator would also in this case be 10. So the next one is 1/2 and 1/6. So we'll do this one together because they can get a little confusing. And then you're going to tackle the other ones on your own. 1/2 and 1/6. So remember, big line. And then we'll do 6 times 1 is 6. 6 times 2 is 12. 6 times 3 is 18. 6 times 4 is 24. 6 times 5 is 30. 6 times 6 is 36. 6 times 7 is 42. 6 times 8 is 48. And we'll stop there. Now this is a little easier. 2, so 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24. Okay, so which one is the which ones are the common multiples? So, and you're gonna keep going because you have to fill in all these little gaps. So you're gonna keep going. So we did this one. So the least common multiple is, I think you got it, is 6. This is the lowest common multiple. So the least common multiple is 6. This is the lowest that you can multiply that's the same. And the least common denominator in this case is also 6. So your answer for this one would be 6 and 6. Now I'm going to let you find the common multiples. We found one common multiple. Can you see another one? I think you got it. 12 and 12. Can you see another one? Oh, you get it again. 18 and 18. Can you see another one? 24 and 24. So here's where you would write your common multiples. And I've circled those for you. So now it's your turn to continue and multiply all of these by 3, by 9, by 4, by 6, by 8. Now this one, instead of having top and bottom, it's got a 3-row. That's the monster. So you're gonna multiply those. Find your common multiples of 3 different numbers, a 4, a 6, and an 8. Now keep in mind, you already did the 6, and you already did the, hold on. And yeah, you already did the 6, so you can use this one right here because it's the same thing as the one in the middle. But the other ones you're gonna have to multiply. So get those done. Find this least common multiple, least common denominator, and see what comes up. Hey Jake, how did it go? Hopefully it went okay. The next couple of things are going to be a little more challenging, but you're a smart cookie. I think you can do it. So we're going to go into finding the least common denominator, and then we're going to have to list them out, and you'll be all right. I think you got it. Okay, say it with me. I got it. So have fun. All right. Find the least common denominator is the step 2. So here, just kind of like what you have right here, 1/6 and 1/4. So you're gonna find the least common denominator equivalent fractions. So on here, what you would do, again, just like what we did on this one, and they're actually right here. 1/6 is this one, so we're going to use this one, and then 1/4. Again, put your line. 4 times 1 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8, 4 times 3 is 12, 4 times 4 is 16, 4 times 5 is 20, and then we can stop there. Which one is your least common denominator? Where do they overlap? Up, I see it, they 12. So you want to write, you want to write that out, just like we did here. I'm going to write that out and then find your least common denominator, and I gave you the answer for that one. The answer is 12. So you want to do the same for that one and for that one and for that one, and then keep in mind some of these right here you've already done up here, so if you have the answers for that one, use that, and then find your least common denominator. Good luck.